You know that feeling, right? Just staring at a blinking cursor on a completely blank page, waiting for some magical spark of inspiration to hit you? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a totally different approach to something that honestly strikes fear into the hearts of so many of us: essay writing. What if, instead of viewing that blank page as a terrifying void, we looked at it as a construction site? We're going to completely demystify the writing process by treating it exactly like building a house with a solid architectural blueprint. Okay, let's dive right into this. So, here's the quick blueprint for our masterclass today. We're going to start with the essay writing myth, then walk through the 5 steps of the process, map out the 3-part essay structure, and finally, look at perfecting your written communication. Let's break some ground. All right, part 1, the essay writing myth. So, we all know that overwhelming panic when you're tasked with writing a long composition. But our sources reveal this massive secret that kind of changes everything. A single paragraph and a full essay, they actually share the exact same fundamental architectural principles: unity, coherence, and emphasis. Writing an essay is literally no more difficult than writing one paragraph. The only difference is just length. If you can build a sturdy single room, a paragraph, you can absolutely build an entire house. It's just scaled up. And that brings us to this core concept. Writing is a form of problem solving. It's not some mysterious, divine art form that's only reserved for natural-born geniuses. Not at all. It's a highly systematic task. You, as the writer, really just have 2 distinct jobs: generating ideas and then structuring those ideas into a shape. You're simply solving the problem of how to best transfer information from your brain directly into the reader's. Moving on to part 2, the 5 steps of the process. The absolute most crucial thing to remember here is that you don't just sit down and try to write a masterpiece from start to finish. That's impossible. Instead, you follow these 5 exact stages: getting ideas, making a brief outline, writing your first draft, revising, and finally, proofreading. Let's walk through exactly how to execute each one. Okay, step 1 is getting ideas. You can't build a house without raw materials, right? You gather these materials by reading, listening to talk shows, or honestly just talking to people to absorb different angles on an issue. Once you get that initial spark, you use one of 3 rapid-fire techniques to get those ideas out of your head and onto paper. Brainstorming is just jotting down points as they come, no special order at all. Clustering is where you put your main topic right in the center of the page, say noisy neighbors, and draw circles of connected ideas around it, like loud dogs or loud music. And free writing, that's just continuously writing for, say, 10 minutes straight without stopping for anything. And let me just pause right here to bust a major myth. Do not, and I mean do not, worry about grammar, punctuation, or spelling during free writing or your first draft. Seriously, I am giving you official permission right now to write as messily as you want. At this early stage, mechanics should be the absolute furthest thing from your mind. Just get the raw materials onto the construction site. So once you have those raw materials scattered around, we move to step 2, preparing a rough outline. Think of this as the actual backbone, or the skeleton, of your essay. It lets you see at just a single glance what the point of each paragraph is going to be and exactly what evidence supports it. It dictates where the rest of the writing will be built, so you'll know immediately if you need more materials for a certain room before you even start hammering the nails. Then we hit step 3, writing the first draft. This is where you're putting up the framing of the house. Your one and only goal here is to develop the content of the document. Put in those additional thoughts and details that maybe didn't come to you earlier. But, and I can't stress this enough, do not spend time correcting words or sentences. Don't cut anything out yet. Words you think about deleting right now might actually be the exact words you need later on. Just keep adding. Now we hit step 4, revising. And what's really surprising here is that our sources explicitly call this the absolute most important part of writing, yet it's almost always the step students want to skip. Revising isn't just a quick read-through to spot typos. It means you actually rewrite. You toss out the irrelevant material, build upon your best ideas, and put in transition words for a smoother flow. A solid revision usually means writing 2 or more drafts. The draft you produce the second time around will always be better than the first. It's kind of like moving the walls around until the floor plan flows perfectly. Finally, we have step 5, proofreading. This is your final inspection phase. Now is the time to finally care about spelling, grammar, punctuation, and usage errors. Grab a dictionary. Check your sentence construction. Yes, it's often avoided because it's tedious, hard work, but this step is absolutely vital because it ensures your written work looks as professional and polished as possible for your reader. All right, moving into part 3, the 3-part essay structure. We've poured the foundation, we've done the framing, so let's look at the actual physical floor plan of our building. Whether you're doing academic writing like a term paper or journalistic composition, you're always going to guide your reader on a linear 3-part journey: the introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. It's a universally recognizable structure, and you know why? Because it works perfectly to guide human attention. It all starts with the introduction, and specifically, the thesis statement. The thesis statement is the welcoming entryway to your entire building. It declares exactly how you intend to treat the topic. If an essay is just a scaled-up paragraph, like we talked about, then the thesis statement acts exactly like a topic sentence in a single paragraph. It clarifies what the whole structure is going to be about. But before they can even walk through that entryway, you have to actually get them to the front door. So, let me ask you, how do you catch a reader's attention right at the start so they genuinely want to keep reading your work? Well, you use a hook. Our sources provide some amazing architectural features for this in your intro paragraph. You can pose a really provocative question, drop in an apt quotation, paint a striking description or image in words, make a controversial statement that makes them sit up and take notice, give some historical background, or even make an appeal for action. The main takeaway here is to carefully choose the hook that precisely matches your exact purpose for writing. Once they're inside, the main body represents the individual rooms of the house. This is the bulk of the essay, where you develop subdivisions of your topic using examples, facts, and statistics. You can organize these rooms chronologically or maybe by order of importance. And remember our scale? Inside each of these main body paragraphs, you still need a topic sentence, your supporting evidence, and a concluding sentence. It's just a repeating, logical pattern. And finally, the conclusion. This is the roof that ties the entire building together. You don't want to just abruptly stop writing. You have to create a distinct feeling of finale. You do this through a summary or a quick review of the main points you discussed in the body. Depending on your topic, this is also exactly where you leave the reader with a final decision, a firm opinion, or proposed recommendations. You want them leaving your house remembering the visit, right? Okay, our final section, part 4, perfecting your written communication. So we've built the house, we've structured the rooms, now it's time for the interior design phase, the final polish. What's super fascinating here is that our sources openly state there is no single correct way to write English. It's not some rigid math equation. Instead, consistently good writing relies entirely on mastering just 3 specific skills. Yep, just 3. First is communication, the raw skill of actually putting your ideas across clearly to the reader. Second is organization, taking those raw ideas and shaping them logically into cohesive sentences and paragraphs. And third is stylistic tone, achieving the appropriate level of formality and tone for your specific audience. If you practice these 3 things systematically, if you actually do the outlining, the messy drafts, and the careful revisions, you will eventually overcome the fear of writing altogether, for sure. So, you see, that blank page doesn't have to be intimidating anymore. It's really just an empty plot of land waiting for you to break ground. You have the raw materials, the skeleton outline, the framing techniques, and the tools for that final polish. The only question left is, now that you hold the ultimate architectural blueprint, what incredible structure are you going to build next?